everyone. Welcome to Autocar Professional. Today I have a really dynamic lady with me who's from a new age industry, Madhumita Agrawal, who represents Oben Electric. Why we're having this discussion today is because it's come to our notice how there are so few women CXOs in the industry, as less as 3% in the top 11 automotive firms. So we wanted to sit down with her and understand what her viewpoint is. And obviously, undoubtedly, startups and new age companies are leading the way. Madhumita, let's start with that. Why are new age companies ahead when it comes to the representation of women at the CXO level? And why are legacy companies like a laggard? What has your experience been?
So I think legacy or the new age, if you see, the difference is now more women are coming up, right? The more women are participating in, this GDP growth, rather I put it that way. So currently, women are coming up with very varied skill set. They are not only focused on, only HR or, kind of functions which are more from the administrative side, but now women are more involved on the side of developing product development, technology, and more on building the company rather than just functional, part of the system. So that's a very different, I would say, change that has come. Definitely, there has been in past outliers like, I'm sitting, my factory is just next to Biocon, like, Kiran Majumdar Shaw and all. These are like icons who have been there and have been trailblazer, right? So I think the trend or the change what we see, more women are getting into the technical roles, more women are getting into really the main functions, right? Not just limited to some of the functions like HR or, but just limited to some other functions or
The,
marketing
rev-
and all.
the revenue impacting roles, like they're
Yes.
called.
Yes, absolutely. So that's the biggest change which we see, and that's why you will see more in the new age startup or new age companies or even bigger MNCs, right? Women are at the kind of levels where they are driving these functions.
Would you say that the transition that auto industry is going through in terms of electric, more automation coming in, ER&D, a lot of software defined vehicles, overall the industry is going through a huge churn right now. Has that got to do with a lot more women participation in different roles?
Uh, that could be partly, yes, because a lot of software involvement has come in automotive, which was not the case previously. But rather, I would say it is more of a mindset change that, women are getting into these hardcore domain, which is more about men. Manufacturing has been always a man or a male dominated sector, but it is more of a mindset change, I would say, that women are taking these challenges that yes, if I'm equal, if mentally, if I start thinking that yes, I'm equal, then I should be able to take jobs which are also equal what men are doing. So I think it's a mindset change completely, I would say, because women were equipped before also, and now also they are well equipped, but it's a kind of a mental call, or where you take that call that yes, I will solve this problem, right? I'm also capable of solving this problem. Yeah.
Do mandates help? For example, MG had said a few years back that they want to see 50% of their workforce as women, and Mahindra has sort of led a lot of women in leadership positions. So do mandates help? What is the way out for a paradigm shift, so to say, if we were to see in this industry?
So mandates definitely helps, right? Because it make you don't miss out, right? There's a mandate, then you have to abide by that. So because you are trying to change the ecosystem, you're trying to make it more inclusive, and you're trying to kind of change what has been yet being practiced. So there a little bit of mandate, little bit of rules little bit of, kind of making it little very, forceful is a very extreme word, but rather I would say that you need a regulating authority, kind of to manage that. But yes, that won't bring ultimately 100% of it implication. It is again the entire ecosystem has to be. If there is a mandate that yes, women have to 50% has to be women, but if the women itself they are not scaling up themselves, that yes, at that I'm equivalent to that role, and I'm trying to bring up that equal skill set what my counterpart male is bringing. So it's both ways, right? You create that ecosystem. As women we come up, kind of perform those roles maybe better. That's something. And then also the ecosystem of having that be a woman is not seen that okay, she is on a role, a CFO or a R&D head, because as a woman, rather as a R&D head she should be perceived. So I think that's a overall kind of a thing.
Right. If you could draw experiences and anecdotes from your journey, because again, even today there are so few women founders and CEOs in the automotive sector. Less so in I mean, startups are leading the way, but like legacy companies we talked about. So how, like, talk a bit about your journey of starting up. How was that? Like, how did you gain that confidence? What was that journey like? What was it back then? And how is the kind of change that you've seen?
So I think my first startup, which I built, it was into R&D services, which is like again a very hard sector, and you were selling something niche, right? And starting from my first meeting to kind of getting those questions that any is there any technical guy joining the meeting, and you answering no, I'm the person who is whole and soul going to take care of this. Starting from that to now, in manufacturing, getting that okay, anyone else getting that comfort there in the mind of the recipient, or whether it's investor, whether it's your vendor, there is a kind of reluctancy, because they are seen only male in this sector. When I was in R&D, and then when I also got into manufacturing, and got into EV with 6 years of experience in EV, right? 6 to 7 years I had worked in past, but still there is a question where is there someone else joining in the meeting, or when you give an introduction, then they're trying to understand. So which is okay, fair enough, because sorry, that's how the our society has been. But yes, there are definitely when those questions are there, but there is a different kind of question that people take pride that okay, a woman is leading this. There are people, there is a complete shift in the mindset, that where people take pride of the women leading a automotive sector, which is like the pinnacle of complexity and hardware and everything. So there are two sides of the parties there who really doubt and question you, and which actually kind of helps you to perform much better, challenge you in that way. And there is a set of people who really take pride in seeing that okay, it's a hard sector and a woman is driving it, and with no legacy, right? When you say there are many women out there driving some of the family businesses, right? And you out there starting your all of your own, and you have built a legacy of your own with your first venture. I think there are backers, there are believers who look at you at that angle also. There are positive and negative. So the negative ones always, challenge you, right? As a woman, I think all the women hearing out there, I would say take it as, as a challenge. Yes. If you doubt me, then I'm going to, double click that doubt. And there are
Wow.
positive guys who look at in a very different way.
Right. Even at my end of the table, women journalists in auto, there were so few when I was starting out, and today you
Yes.
see. like there is a room full of women journalists. Still, like the needle is yet to move to a big extent. Do you see that in your industry as well? Like needle is moving, but is the pace of growth little slower, or it could be faster as you might have expected?
Yeah. So I think there is a shift there, definitely. See, if we understand, let's understand some basics, right? Why in this sector women were not there? Women, wherever there is a physical labor, physiologically, we are not kind of equipped to, pick huge machines or something like that. That was the reason why, men were more involved because that's a biological thing. But where there is more of a mental work, where there is a more of a using a brain which is equally given to both of the parties. So I think that's how things have evolved, right? But today you see women are also on the shop floor working, right? Sorry.
And a lot of
Uh,
automation has helped that.
Yes, a lot of automation, a lot of software, a lot of kind of, where there is more of a use of your brain and, more or less of a labor kind of manual work. I think that has helped, but nevertheless, I think on the shop floors also there are women working. So I think we don't see that there are biases, but I would say it is getting much, much better what it was when I think so. Maybe Kiran Majumdar Shaw, she started, or any of the early, women entrepreneurs who started. I think, and we are now, we are now the society is very vocal about these aspects. They are openly discussing this. As women, I can always come in this forum and say that, okay, I was, questioned like this, or, kind of gone through that. That itself helps a lot, Uh, so because
Yeah.
I myself, I was a biker, right? But yes, I used to ride bike and I had RX 100. My brother had RX 100. So, that was a bike which I used to two-stroke engine. So I think somewhere it was there in me. And then here I am. Yes.
Yeah. But what, like, it's so important the point that you made, that you need role models and you need mentors. Like, just you need to sort of feel that this is who I can become, because this person who has achieved something is like me. And that's why you get that confidence. So, being at the helm of affairs at Oben Electric, do you think that women in leadership positions they help propagate more women participation? And when you're hiring, for example, is there a fundamental change in the way you approach things, and how does diversity at leadership level really help?
So I think very important, they women bring a very different perspective, right? Sometimes they bring a very conservative view, which a business needs, which we have experienced, and where it brings a balance. Let me put it that way, because there has to be a very extreme view where there's a lot of risk. Women are designed in that way, from that they are more, calculative and bit of conservative. So they bring a balance in the system, right? They bring a lot of compassion, and they also bring a lot of a kind of a I would say extension of compassion, basically understanding the consumer mindset, and also the team and employees. So I think a very different perspective is brought by a woman. So it's very essential to have a women, kind of in the system, whether it's leadership and the that aspect of women which comes into the system. I think that is very, very important because it completes the circuit, right? I think that's very important. When while hiring, I also look into certain aspects I'm very particular about, because as a women, we have a lot of other issues compared to men, right? A lot of other expectations from family and everything, and also as a woman you have many more things on table. As women, you coming out and doing your job or taking up some challenge, that's your personal goal, right? That's your personal dream, personal goal. And with all kind of extra. or I would say additional expectation that you have, in at every stage of your life, at whatever age you are, as a daughter, as a maybe as a wife or mother, and after that old parents, there's a quite a lot of journey that you have, and then biologically you also going through a lot of your perspective from your personal point of view. But the dream of you coming out there and solving a problem is your personal dream, right? So there are two things very important to play a role. That one is the ecosystem which needs to be developed, or the ecosystem which not just at home. At home is very important, but also outside, like in the office, right? In
Yes,
your
workplace policies.
workplace, right? Having that. But the other bigger responsibility with as a woman or as an individual comes it that if that environment is given to you also, then you have to step up, you know, and maybe you have to take two steps more, because that's your personal goal. As a woman, you have a lot of things on the plate. And if the work has to be done, it has to be done, right? And then you can't give that excuse, why the project went to that other person who could deliver it, and you were, just having those problems in your life. So there is a balance. That ecosystem is there. You provide that ecosystem to the women, but don't, as a women, let's not take advantage of it. Always not give a excuse. I'm very, very, when you say of hiring or, bringing that aspect, that, okay, I'm having this problem, I'm having that problem. We have come up, we have made the choice of coming out and, kind of taking up this problem, or, a role for ourselves, and create our identity with all those problems. We know that we'll have all those expectation. So if I have to sit at night to do it, if in the morning I had to attend to maybe my kid, then at night I have to wake up and complete the work. Otherwise, the project will go to a man who is able to do that.
So you have to work twice as hard. And like there's no, like they say that you can't be a woman and be mediocre at your work. There will be no
Exactly.
chances for you to fail, because
Correct.
that's
Because
the
it's
that's
your
a very,
personal choice.
yeah.
Nobody asked, anyone to come out and work. It's your personal choice. And as a woman, we have a lot of things. You have to build that ecosystem around you. If that in office also, if that liberty is given to you, then you have to deliver. End of the day is the business cannot suffer, whatever it takes, right? I think that's a balance which has to be there. That, okay, as a woman, I want to be out there. I want to have identity of my own. I want to really, kind of solve those big problems, contribute to the company. But at back of the mind, I also have a lot of other responsibility, which is expected from a woman. I think that
Yeah.
balance, that trade-offs, all that has to be done. If you choose to trade off companies' work, then definitely the project will go to someone else. Then you don't expect that kind of scale. Because I'm an entrepreneur also, the business cannot suffer at any cost. So
Yeah.
that's one angle of, women in work force.
That's a good point, but maybe women have a lot more stakes and a lot more to miss out and lose out on, which is why it's like you said, balance, and balancing both ends of the spectrum is more critical for a woman, because like you said, they have more responsibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anything that, I mean, workplaces, in your management style, in the company's policies, etc., that you have done to address this issue? Because on one end of the spectrum, there's this issue of getting more women participation and making sure that that diversity and the revenue impacting roles and all of that is taken care of. And on the other hand, like you said, there are so many challenges, so you have to push it at some level. So how do you balance the two as someone who's at the helm of affairs at the company?
So I think sometimes, one is, of course, for women, first of all, kind of have as we are into manufacturing, right? We are 6 days working, right? So 6 days working, and you have seen the work from home backlashes, right? How people have misused that, and some have been successful. But in hardware, you can't have a work from home. But for some women, if they have some issue, that is something is kind of given that they can have a work from home or but again, always it is a kind of you try to create that ecosystem, but people take advantage of it. So you have to bring that balance. As management, you bring that balance that what can be done and what needs to be, kind of which brings a balance between that your employees also, manage. And the other balance is the business has to run, right? And business is very, very brutal because my competition is not going to give me any kind of a discount, right? That yes, she's a women founder and okay, her kid is not well, so chalo, theek hai,
Yeah,
competition.
nothing matters. Yeah.
Nothing like that. You are in a business, B for brutal, right? So you're out there with a cutthroat competition. I can't take a excuse that my kid is sick and I'm not out there, right? I have to sit at night 2, 3, or maybe a whole night and get that thing done. So that's one aspect of it. Then safety is one that which you ensure because it's not just physical safety but it's also mental safety, right? How the environment you create that people women don't feel because it's hardware manufacturing more male dominated. So you need to have that environment that's strict or very clear, making a point that any kind of misbehavior, any kind of you know um, because women definitely will be in minority in such kind of environment when you're growing. When you are at very large scale, yes, you can have that 50-50% kind of a thing. These talks are more prevalent in big MNCs when they have settled. So having said that, making a safe environment, which is very important, which is there is no argument around it. So yeah.
Got it. Lastly, I wanted your view on, as someone who's, like you're on the go, and like you said, it's uncompromised how you grow, and that growth and keeping everything for the company is really important at this stage. So, what is your vision for Oben Electric? How do you plan to sort of take it to the next level, considering that, like, again, we said that there are so few women CEOs in the industry. How do you sort of navigate the waters? The industry is going through so much competition is coming up in the electric vehicle space. Would you just leave us with the vision for the company and add as someone who's sort of leading it from the front?
So I think we are from day one very clear about one thing: a good product makes its way. Whatever might the competition come, a good product. And in our industry, service matters. These two things will make its way, which will make its own market. Right? If you see example Royal Enfield, it made its own market. They also were startup when they started Royal Enfield. Of course, they had a legacy business. That's
Yeah.
something unique in our case that we don't have a legacy. But yes, our fundamentals are very clear that make a good product, give a good service, and that will make its own position. So we want to navigate all these competition, all these noise, all the negativity or positive, whatever is there, through a great product. That's our vision. And being top at the technology level, which gives a good kind of consumer experience, which helps us to build the brand also. So our focus is product.
Got it. And do you see a lot more influx of women starting out in this space? What are the opportunities, especially when it comes to someone who wants to start up to tomorrow, looking at the automotive space? What are some of the opportunities that you see for young entrepreneurs?
So I think with all technology or software and all coming in, there's a massive opportunity. And after getting into the hardcore manufacturing, I see even in the traditional business like making maybe some of the basic components, like for example brakes or even lighting system or any of these components, switch gear. There's a huge, kind of a dearth there. There are only hardly 3-4 players, and they are only
Yeah.
supplying to the entire world. So I think there's a huge, opportunity, not just the new age technologies. in the EV space, but also the traditional ones,
Correct. Yeah, that's
right?
a very
And now with awareness and some of the capital coming in for CNC machines, which is very very astonishing to hear also that VC money and everything is coming into these traditional businesses. That's a brilliant opportunity to kind of to pick up, which will be, I think, in coming years there will be a lot of people getting into that, and I see look forward to women driving some of this.
Wow, great. On that really positive note, thank you so much for spending time with us. And you've given us so much to think about in terms of what workplace policy should be, how women bring in different perspective with a conservative approach. So thank you so much for that, and thank you for inspiring so many other women who would see you as a role model and probably start a new business in this industry and take manufacturing forward.